Hey, so my name is Cameron Becht with Eclipse Lighting and Grip, and today we're going over the Lite Mat 1. So, I encounter this a lot. I'll say, hey, go grab a light mat, and I get this look. It's the look of what the fuck did you just ask for? And so I'm just excited to show how to build out a light mat because you can take this system that you use, because they're all the same, and use it with the Lite Mat 1, 2L, 4. The Lite tile has a similar system, and you'll just have a general understanding of how to use Light Gear's products. So, within it, every case is going to have the actual LED. So, as you can see, it's only bicolor. You'll have an LED that's 56 and an LED that's 32. And with these units, a lot of people don't realize is that the only thing that's changing the color temperature is the intensity between the 32 and the 56 Kelvin. And then when that gets combined, that creates the difference. So let's say if you wanted to get to 4,500 Kelvin, it would be maybe 50% for each on the 56 Kelvin LED and the 3200 Kelvin LED. So within here, you'll also have the strongest Velcro you'll ever encounter your entire life. This Velcro could keep a marriage together. If it was falling apart, you put some of this on and you're gonna be great. You're gonna have kids, you're gonna be happy. So we're gonna come over here, we're gonna place it on, just like so. Try to make sure when you are doing it, there's not like any light spill coming right here. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then you have your diffusions, which are normally in whatever pocket the previous people who rented it decided to put it back into. This is your back plate. So this back plate, you'll either encounter a Kino plate or a dual, what do I call it, dual? You'll either encounter a Kino plate or a plate like this, which just has two different ball sockets you can rotate throughout. I've worked with gaffers who hate these, and I've worked with people who love them. I think I like the Kino one more just because I feel like when it works, it's more robust, because these, after a little bit, like, they just start falling apart. I guess they all kind of fall apart to an extent. They're not, maybe there needs to be a new system. That would be nice. So, let's get to the diffusions. So I can grab them. So every time I ever ask for diffusion, I always put full diffusion on. If I'm gaffing something, just always start with full diffusion. Unless I say otherwise. If I say, hey, give me a light mat with, quarter grid or whatever, that'd work. Something that a lot of people don't realize is that light mat, the full diffusion is just magic cloth. That's all this fabric is. So you'll put it on like so, kind of stretch it out a little bit, make it nice and tight. Try to make it look pretty. If you're on set, people are paying a lot of money to be there, and they like stuff to look pretty. So part of your job in G&E is just for show. Just make things look nice. So on the back, you'll have all these little holes and stuff like that. As you can see, there is a pin right here. This pin will match up with this, and these will go in. And once you hear that click, it's on. So now we can put the light mat on the baby pin. Put it on. You're gonna rotate it to an upright position. And if you really want to, if you want to make it really, really fun, you can loosen this, like that. And so a good way about this orientation is that my knuckles aren't being lined up here, so if I have to really crank it, I won't run into this. And then this is not interfering with anything else. It's in a separate area. So old light mats will have Phoenix 3 cables. The newer systems have these little twist lock guys, which, super important thing, do not break these pins. When these pins are broken, rental houses, no one likes it. It's never a fun time. I don't ever enjoy it. So as you see, I took out another diffusion. These products are expensive, so when you are taking stuff out, moving it around, and I know set life is busy, but if you can be really mindful of where you're putting things and where things are, it makes your life better. So if someone asks like, hey, where'd that thing go? You don't get caught with your pants down. It also makes the rental house's life easier. So when they get back their products, they don't have to go through the whole ordering system and finding out if anything's in stock anymore. So this is your PSU/ballast, or whatever you'd like to call it. Right here, this is your header cable that will go into the light mat. Basically just gives you a longer distance to where you can hook this guy up to. And this is where the fun happens. So gonna take this guy and just hook it on like so. Comes one unit. This will feed back into this. So I think this would be, yeah, so in my head, how I think I would use this, tell me if I'm wrong, this would be the PSU and this would be the ballast. Almost to the extent of like if you're building a PC, this is the power supply that then runs into the ballast, and the ballast kind of acts as like what to do. It tells the information where to go. So within here, you have 3 different settings. You have on, alt, and off. I encounter this all the time. It really varies on if alt is brighter or if on is brighter. It's a system to where I don't know why when I receive certain light mats it works like that, but I've run into that. So be mindful when you turn it on, just do a check. Just see, is the on brighter or is the alt brighter? So, and back here, super important thing, pins the power. That means your pin always goes to your power source. That's why right here, pin to power. The pin is going to the power. So I will find the female end that will receive the pins. You will line up these, there's a little nudge right there. That is such a huge thing, a little nudge. Line up that little nudge, then it'll just slide right in. And then once it slides in, you're gonna rotate them until it's tight and it won't fall off. And then, come over here, you take this and you can hang it off the back of the light. You can hang it really anywhere you want. You can rig it, do all those other things, but I like to hang it right there. And also when I am building out a light mat, I like to keep it as compact as possible so it's not in the way or, you know, a pain to work with. So remember that, pins to power. Pins are going into power right now. I'm gonna twist it in. So the last thing we're missing is a universal power cable. And that comes within every case. It's basically, if you've ever used any TV ever, it's just what plugs into a TV. Right here. So you'll plug this into the bottom. And then patch in and you'll be ready to strike your light. So as you turn it on, striking, and the unit is on. So one thing that I love about light mats is that it's a really soft source. Like it looks great. It's always been very pleasing to skin tones in my opinion. Something else to realize is that if you are rigging something like this overhead, it's flat. And that basically just means it won't fill in eyes as well. So if you want to make it even better, what you can do is take off the diffusion, get maybe a cut of magic cloth, make a diaper with it so it hangs lower. And that curvature will be more filling on the eyes. Your eyes will fill in and it won't be as moody as a top source. So that's something to be noteful of or mindful of if you're doing a dinner scene that's maybe romantic, or a scene that doesn't require for more intense shadows on the face, for something that, you know, maybe wants something a little softer or more pleasing to the eye. Tony, you got any questions? All this makes sense? Oh, let's go back here and go over this real quick. So on the back of every light mat, you're gonna have 2 different dials. If it's a Spectrum, it's gonna look different, but you know, the light mat 4s and the 4 pluses look like this. You have your level that goes to 100, all the way to 0. And then you have something else that's your Kelvin that'll go, and it's, oh, here's another thing. It's not exact. It doesn't say like, oh, get me to exactly, you know, 36.8. You can't tell. At least on these ones you can't. But it's a good guess. So it's like, you know, all the way down I feel like is 28. It's pretty warm. And then all the way blue is more like 7,000, something around that world. So what you guys can do now is you can take this system, what you learned right here, and apply it to a lot of generations of light mats of the Light Gear series, where you have a power supply, you have a ballast, and it's all about just running it and making it work. You'll always have the super strong Velcro outer right here, unless it's a light tile, which it's a metal frame, but these have the, what do you call this? Chloroplast, that's what it is. These have a chloroplast shelving with a Velcro, the diffusion, and the actual light mat itself. And then when you're taking it apart, you want to be very mindful not, you know, breaking things up. So take off your diffusion first. Find the bag you got it from, which is right here. Fold it up to the similar folds that it's, you know, been folded before. Place it in the bag. Make sure the light is off. Never try to, at least I don't like doing it. Don't try unplugging something when it's still on. It could just create a short or something not ideal. You have your header cable here. You're going to take that off. In each pocket that you got something out of inside of the light mat, just be mindful that you're going to put it back in that pocket. Something else I forgot to mention. These. I don't like them, but I use them. I like the DOP choice once more. These are just a little interesting of a choice because they're reflective. Like, I could shine it at a light and it'd be reflective. And also, this mounting system's a little weak. It can fall off really easily. So I always prefer the DOP choice snap grids. Way better, in my opinion. But these work. It controls the light. It does the thing. Fun little fact. If you've ever been in an old elevator and looked up at the little crates, if you've ever been in an old elevator and looked up the little crates, it's this. It's the exact same thing. All right, so so when you're putting away your light mat, you're gonna slide that into one side. You normally like to separate it a little bit. Take off your Velcro. Just pull it off. Take this, twist it back to the orientation you found it. This orientation is like this. It's the orientation that basically just takes up the least space inside of the packaging. You're gonna slide that in. Take your light mat head, pull this out, twist, pull. It releases. Then going to slide that back in. Just be very mindful not to damage the LEDs, because if you damage the LED on the unit's, it's done. That's the whole point of it, is to use the LEDs. So this system right here, unplug this, take this out. When you're storing it, you just basically want to make sure there's nothing to where if something was leaning against it, it can break. This has a really strong system right here to where it can kind of go through hell for a while before it breaks, but just try not to break anything. Take your universal power cord. You wrap it up like a stinger, just over. See, like that. Should look like that when you put it away. Put it in the pocket you got it from. Put this back in the pocket you got it from. And you're good to go. No gaffer or rental house is going to yell at you now.